Good morning. It is so hot these days. I hope you are staying cool and safe through these dark days of summer. Jesus Christ is a healer. He's working in us. He's ready to do his work of miracle in our lives. But to embrace and embody the work of Christ, we got to be aware of certain attitudes. And John chapter 9 shows us a different attitude that can hinder the work of Christ in our lives. We talked about a problem focused attitude and denial of others. Today, we're going to look at the rest two, the negative attitudes. Attitude number three is an attitude of Pharisee. John chapter 9, verse 15 and 16. The Pharisees asked the man all about it. So he told them, "He put the mud over my eyes, and when I washed it away, I could see." Some of the Pharisees said, "This man Jesus is not from God, for he is working on the Sabbath." Others said, "But how could an ordinary sinner do such miraculous signs?" So there was a division of opinion among them. The Pharisees' spirit is a religious spirit. Religion is all about do's and don'ts. Pharisees are bound by the rules and regulations. Because the Pharisees get so caught up in religion, they could not accept God's healing upon this blind man. The Pharisees could only see the keeping Sabbath because they only had head knowledge about God. See, the religious spirit has no room for God to operate. The great philosopher Pascal says the knowledge of God comes through a heart. Jesus can do things beyond our imagination. Jesus can heal, restore, redeem, and transform any of us. So fight off the religious spirit. We need to overcome the spirit of unbelief if we're going to fulfill God's plan in our lives. Many people are blinded by what they think they know. They get so caught up in what they think they know, they just cannot see the plan and purpose of God. So don't allow my thinking hinder the work of the Spirit. The last attitude we see here is an attitude of the parents. Fear. Chapter 9, 20 through 23. They asked them, "Is this your son? Was he born blind? If so, how could he not see?" His parents replied, "We know this is our son, that he was born blind. But we don't know how he can see or who healed him. Ask him. He's old enough to speak for himself." His parents said this because they were afraid of the Jewish leaders who had announced that anyone saying Jesus was Messiah would be expelled from the synagogue. That's why they said, "He's old enough, ask him." Parents were scared of religious leaders. They knew Jesus performed the miracle. The day of their son's healing was probably the most joyful day of their lives. Yet they distanced themselves from the work of God because they were intimidated by the religious leaders. See, fear is a robber. Fear of failure robs us of an action. What if it doesn't work? What if I fail? What if God doesn't listen to me? Because we are afraid of failure, we don't act upon the conviction or vision that God has planted in our heart. Now, fear of rejection, on the other hand, robs us of our integrity. When we crave for acceptance from others, this can happen. We can easily just focus on not getting rejected instead of living out our conviction and faith. We become a people pleaser and we compromise who we are as a person and as a follower of Christ. Sometimes we have to choose between fearing God and fearing man. The only one we really need to fear is the living God, the creator of heaven and earth. God uses those with holy fear to change the world. When Joshua became a successor to Moses, he was scared. He has a lot of fear in his heart, and God had to remind him Many times about being courageous. With holy fear, Joshua led people of Israel into the promised land. When we fear God and place Him above anything else, God will do amazing things in us and through us. Jesus Christ is the Son of God. He is the way, the truth, and the life. Our life, future, vision need to be built upon God's truth rather than the mindset of this world. Follow Christ, follow the truth, and be all God called you to be. Have a blessed day.